I'm Deb Hotep. I'm a pro astrologer and life coach and founder of Light Goddess, a business community and movement for soul mission driven women making more money, making impact by healing self-worth and shadow. So this is Light Goddess YouTube. You've landed here. I welcome you to be here if you're new, and thank you for watching if you've been a longtime subscriber. Over 200 videos here. A lot of them are not outdated. So to really encourage you, especially if you're really working to learn the signs and the planets and the houses and really learn astrology for your own empowerment, go watch a lot of the videos that I have out on this channel. And I put new moon and full moon videos out with sun sign horoscopes every single month. So if you subscribe, you'll get those uploaded to your feed every month. So I'm going to get into this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that's happening today as I'm filming this on the 20th of April. This is a rare event. It happens every 13, 14 years in some sign. But in Taurus, it's a once in a lifetime event unless you're about 84 to 100 and something years old. And we're meant to actually live like 240 years according to our telomeres, which is science. But this is a once in a lifetime event. And Uranus is such an interesting planet because it is our subconscious. It is the past, present, and future. It is all of this knowledge, the quantum field. We can access so much more knowledge than we typically think about on a day-to-day basis. You know, it truly is true that we can really step into a new energy and belief system. Like I made the sign, unwavering belief in yourself, to help women know the power that they have. Most women's empowerment and belief in themselves is way down here. It should be way the fuck up here. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later in this video. But Jupiter and Uranus, Jupiter is our belief systems, it's wisdom, it's alignment with natural law versus man-made law that we're programmed and conditioned under, the things we've internalized that we run our lives by unwittingly. And Uranus is that subconscious, that quantum field. Uranus is also innovation through often trauma and limitation. And we're going to get into that and often the wars that surround your Jupiter Uranus conjunctions. Also, Jupiter Uranus, Uranus is stepping outside the box, individuation. So individuating, like, when you're in high school, you start individuating from your parents and stepping outside of their control and their way of doing things, often doing the exact opposite of what your parents' value system is. So if you grew up with hippie parents, then you start to get conservative. If you've grown up with conservative parents, you start to get hippie or alternative or, grunge band or something. It's that sort, that's what individuation is. It's this stepping into your own individuality, your own thinking for yourself versus thinking the way your parents did or your community. It's not that you have to be outside of our great, beautiful communities that are soul connected, but still having your own thinking for yourself, not letting someone come in and tell you what to think. And I know as I climb this ladder of my own individuation and my own empowerment as a woman, particularly in a misogynistic, patriarchal, largely woman-hating world, it has been this layers and layers coming off of almost wanting someone to just tell me what to do. I went through those phases early on of like not knowing what to think for myself and being scared that I would not be okay or safe or protected because there's such this patriarchal programming of women to think that something outside of themselves, particularly a man or the community, protects them. And it's not that you consciously think it's true, it's just an internalized programming, and it's messed up. And that was a part of my process of having to dismantle that programming within myself and to start to know Taurus, which we're going to talk about. This conjunction is happening in Taurus, my own resourcefulness within myself to have security from within. And that's what Taurus teaches. Taurus is about survival. It's about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's about our own resourcefulness within ourselves, our own gifts and talents, and it's about our value systems. And Jupiter about beliefs and Taurus about value systems. They're intrinsically related because your value systems come from your beliefs and your beliefs come from your value systems. It's a loop. And so are you stuck in loops that are not serving you? A lot of people have fear about going into the spiritual world and their psychic gifts. and they don't even go research a bunch of things and don't think that that's a possibility and that they can just go do that. Like, go start researching everything. You don't have to commit or change your beliefs or jump into anything, but go research and flood yourself with knowledge and information, because you'll start to see patterns, you'll start to see things clicking. And that's Jupiter. Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces. Pisces abhors restriction. So Jupiter is about expansion and freedom and boundlessness. And also Sagittarius loves to explore many, many different topics. It loves the adventure. It loves people and multiplicity. And Uranus also is cerebral and thinking, complex, and loves to think and figure things out and experiment. It rules Aquarius, and it's that future forward planet, that Aquarius is this future forward sign. And so in Taurus, we're talking about breaking up Taurus, the status quo and the old fixed ways. Taurus is the most fixed of all the signs. It's fixed Earth. So Earth is one of the most, stuck, not stuck energies, you could say that, but like the most solid energy versus water or air or fire. Fire is very ethereal, and air is very mental, and water is very emotional and energetic. And so that earth is the tangible realities, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. It's the tangible realities. It's making things real. Taurus is manifestation, not the spiritual woo-woo version of manifestation, but truly the realization of your ideas and dreams. Because a chair, my favorite, reishi chocolate drink, support Rebel. I love these guys. So, the things you love, the table, like even making this video, it was an idea in my head before I made it tangible and real. And unfortunately, a lot of the Virgo, Pluto people really struggle with doing their evolutionary intention in this life, which is Pisces, because Pisces is actually what animates the Virgo. But Virgo heavy people are like, no, but that's not logical, and struggle with that. And that's their struggle of moving towards that evolutionary intention of the Pisces. All of our Plutos tell us our evolutionary intention. And so the Pluto Libra generation is the Aries, and we've had so much Aries flooding it. And of course, we're in that Aries Libra nodal axis, nodal axes, the two nodes of the moon, the nodes of fate, the emotional lessons that we're here to learn for 18-month cycles as they change. And they're in that Aries Libra nodal axis, that emotional lessons and learnings until January of 2025. So this Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus is all about breaking up the status quo, revolution, and liberation. Liberation as in freedom and truth. Sagittarius in the shadow can be all about dogma and religious control and the patriarchy, the rule book, the man-made rule book. But the conscious, the light expression of Sagittarius, what it's meant to be, is alignment with natural law, living in harmony with the earth, the celestial, navigating this world through astrology, through metaphysics, through what's real. That's real. But so many people, under the programming, until we go through that journey to relieve ourselves of all that programming. And it's truly a journey over years, right? Of taking in information, that Jupiter, and taking in wisdom and knowledge, and it wants to understand, and it starts to see patterns and see connections for itself. Jupiter is about many paths to truth, and knowing your own path to truth, with so many wonderful people that have come before you being the wonderful guideposts and the light shiners, and and the encouragers and empowerment, pushers, instead of drug pushers, or like empowerment pushers. I'm definitely an empowerment pusher, because as women, we need to make money and then make change at the level of visibility. So many women, like, I really got to call out a lot of women out there who are, doing performative help, doing really like performative philanthropy for the optics of it, versus actually wanting to truly create change in this world. A lot of people say that they want to make an impact and help people, and maybe they do with their business, very true, but they've made millions and they're not actually boots on the ground helping the people with their millions of dollars that they could. So you, as a soul mission driven woman, I'm imploring you to raise your empowerment standard, which is all about Jupiter and Uranus. to here, from here to here, and believe in yourself at the highest levels. And that often means healing trauma and abuse, which is Uranus. Uranus is trauma and abuse. We're going to get into that. And so, like, it means healing that. You can't necessarily just change your mind, all of the mindset, information out there. And we work with mind in my 6-month coaching program. But if there's trauma present, we have to work with that first while being empowered around our mind as well. You can't just change your mind if you have trauma and abuse and that hasn't been fully healed, or you're not, on the journey of working through it. And so it's not an either or, it's encompassing. And Jupiter being ruled by that Pisces is that higher wisdom, higher understanding. Jupiter is in the higher expression, like being able to hold disparate things, being able to see, all of the paradoxes that exist simultaneously, operating at one time, concurrently, or not concurrently, simultaneously. And yeah, concurrently. And and Uranus is all about this higher invention, innovation, outside of the box, ingenious. And most women haven't even realized their connection to their own genius. I'm guaranteeing you have genius inside of you that has not unlocked yet. I guarantee you. And I hope that this video really inspires you to believe in yourself at a much higher level, to step into your own soul mission at a greater level, believe in yourself more, and to keep like digging into your own amazing genius. So let's look at the last time that we had Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, which again, this is a once in a lifetime transit. It's rare. This is, life changing. This is this is world changing. I'm going to share the why Jupiter and Uranus is revolutionary, but it's in a different way than you think. So I'm going to show you the chart for 1941, the last time we had it. But here's the thing. So it's revolutionary. And there are things that often happen that are explosive and big and kind of out in the world, visible and in the streets. However, it happens mostly within us. And then therefore we change the world, and that change keeps rolling out decade after decade after decade, and it cannot be stopped. So Jupiter and Uranus is revolutionary from the inside out, which is real revolution, because the shit that happens in the street, like the Women's March on the Capitol, and bombings and different things, earthquakes and things that change things big, they are external, and therefore it's not an internalized ownership of change. It provokes that often. And so, there is this relationship within, without, and so forth. But let's get into it, because Jupiter is our belief system. So if our deep belief systems change, then we don't accept control and we don't accept programming anymore. And we stand up for ourselves in a new way. And at the time of this conjunction, we have Pluto in Aquarius. At the time of the last Taurus conjunction, we had Pluto in Leo. And I'm going to show you that in the chart. And so there is these are sister conjunctions. Not only obviously are they happening at once every 83, 84 years, but they are a sister conjunction because of where Pluto is at. Pluto is our evolution. It's our evolutionary impulse. It's our impulse towards change. It is that death and rebirth and destruction, but only for the purpose of evolution and growth of humanity, of our species, of our own soul, wisdom, which is Jupiter. So let's look at this chart and I'll explain that more. So in 1941, the last time, it was May 7th, the last time that we had this conjunction. That's a great circle. Let's do this again. The last time we had this conjunction, May 7th, we had Jupiter and Uranus at 25 degrees and 38 minutes in Taurus. And I'm doing a 0 Aries chart just so the signs correlate to the house that they correlate to, and that you can kind of when we do a mundane astrology for a city, then we'll let the rising sign be what it actually is, because that's the rising sign for that city in that moment, and it's a mundane chart. But when we do mundane astrology for the world, we want to do a zero Aries chart so that we can look at what's really important here. So in 1941, with this, the 6 months leading up to a conjunction, it is that balsamic period. It is also, that balsamic period, like before the moon, it is that kind of like death before the rebirth. It's the ending of the cycle before a conjunction is always a new beginning of a cycle. And also it's that implementation of what it's going to be about. Like it shows us everything it's going to be about. And so what happened in January? January was FDR. We had President Franklin Delano Roosevelt at the time, and he was very much in the light. He was very much about rights for all people, caring about the people. Our world leaders are not like that today. Not only are they either corrupt or controlled, or it's just that they don't have the powers that it seems like they have. There's other string pullers that are pulling the strings, and we are well aware. If you're not aware, there's too much evidence at this point that a lot of the world leaders get together behind the scenes of the cameras where they cannot be filmed and seen, and have meetings and plan bigger things. And it's not about being eyes closed to what's really going on. It's understanding we, the people, affect so much of the world. We have so much power. We have so much ability to change this world. We are changing this world. So don't be scared by that shit. Understand the patriarchy is breaking down. We already infiltrated the patriarchy simply by being born at this time and awakening and healing and being a woman speaking her voice. We don't have to fight the patriarchy anymore, but we do want to understand what the patriarchy actually is. And I never want to male bash by using that word. So I just want to say that because I do have a lot of men that follow me. And, we love our awakened men, but men are supported to continue the status quo because of the patriarchy, because they can survive in it, whereas women have no benefit from it whatsoever. And some women absolutely perpetuate it because it's internalized, right? I did too until I woke up. And so what the patriarchy actually is narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths. And if we look at Leo here, this Leo Pluto, and how the current Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is happening during an Aquarius Pluto. So it's this opposite polarity. Leo and Aquarius are the opposite polarity of each other. And we can't have a polarity without the other. And that's what we must understand about our own natal charts. Is our planets, we always got to balance out the shadow of our planets in that sign by the opposite sign expression. And often our south node, our Pluto, we're actually working to evolve them up, which means healing the shadow, healing the commitment to the conditioning of that sign. And I'll just give you an example. Pluto Libra. I'm a Pluto Libra generation. Very deeply had it been programmed within me to do life through relationships, to understand myself through the other, all of that kind of Libra shadow. And some of it's not wrong, but my evolutionary intention in this life is Aries, to be that warrior for a noble cause, to be autonomous, to be unto myself. And that's what a lot of the goddess mythos are actually about. A woman unto herself. It doesn't mean you don't have a partner or that you don't want partnership and community or any of that, but it's more that you go about it in a completely different way, in a healthy way, from an autonomous whole self versus that, unhealthy merging and codependency and all that. And so this Pluto Leo is often this kind of thing where there's somebody on top and then they're dawning the wisdom down to the people. But if you look at FDR, he was a great leader. It doesn't mean he did everything perfect. Nobody did. The goddess culture times weren't perfect, but fear was nearly eradicated and we were actually evolving as a species. But nothing's ever perfect. So, but if you look at what he was actually putting out to the world, which was very dangerous, that's what Kennedy got shot for, is because he was going to go up against the mob. And Traficante that's who ordered that hit. And it's so unfortunate of the change he could have made, but he was not aware enough and understanding enough of the players in the background that pull strings. And we have to wake up as people and not be eyes closed, but also inundate ourselves with all the good in the world and how much power we have as the people. And so this Leo is often this model. So FDR put out his speech in January of 1941, the Four Freedoms speech. It was the presidential address for that year that always comes out in January, right after the president's elected. And so but it was this Four Freedoms speech, and I'll show you this picture to share this with you because it was huge. It was revolutionary. And there was also, I can't remember if it was FDR or Eisenhower, but one of them also put out this extra Bill of Rights, and it was a Bill of Rights all about rights to like not be homeless and hungry and not have mental health. It was like a whole Bill of Rights beyond the Bill of Rights we're aware of that are technically enacted. And it was this other Bill of Rights for like humanity and dignity. And you have to understand, the late 1800s, we didn't have charities in this whole idea, and we're not doing so great now. We've had homeless population and hunger explode since 2020. But anyways, check this out, this newspaper from way back then. And what this was about is that he put out this speech about the Four Freedoms, that he saw this vision and he wanted to outline this vision for the future of human rights, human dignity, humanity, where people would have the right to freedom of speech, the right to spiritual freedom, the right to be outside of want, meaning that people would not want for food and a home. People would not be homeless and without food and without mental health, stuff like that. Like there would be without want. And it doesn't mean that you just get to have like luxury, not that something's wrong with that, to be honest. Like we really got to be real. If we didn't have the type of problems of like hunger and homelessness and mental health and stuff like that, the human population, the human race would be involved in innovation and everyone bringing their unique magic, and it would be a magical, amazing fucking world out there because the whole population would be immersed in like everyone doing their unique purpose and gift, bringing their unique medicine to the world, and how that would make this world while having your needs met and not be in survival type of stuff. And Taurus deals with survival. It deals with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so the four freedoms were the third freedom was the freedom from want, and the fourth freedom was the freedom from fear, which meant that it was the freedom from, armaments, that we would, FDR envisioned the world being disarmed and the armaments around the world would be decreased dramatically so that war would be decreased. Here's the thing, the reason why I keep bringing up the patriarchy all the time is because I want people to really understand what it actually is. The patriarchy, narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths, they've been the world leaders. They've been in the role of CEOs. They've been in the role of managements, even at just like small coffee shops or small businesses. They've been in all of these authority type of roles. All of these 6,500 years, they've been controlling the narrative, controlling the population, the way the population is funneled into this narrative or this way of living life or this way of believing. And the reason why we want to understand that is because they don't want an end to war. So all of the people out there that keep talking about like we need to convince people to want peace, just forget it. Go shine your big light and do your unique mission and purpose. There's this guy, it's one of my favorite Instagram accounts right now, and it's called like Make the Shift for Nature. It's a name I always try to remember, Make the Shift for Nature. It's all about this guy in Japan who saw all these crabs with plastic shells. They had plastic for shells, like plastic bottle caps, and and they were using them for their shells because there's no shells because of the environment and the toxins and pollution and all the nuclear waste in Japan, all the different things going on. And so he started, getting people involved and bringing these crabs shells to choose from. And so the little crab comes up the shell and it's like, oh my God, there's this shell that actually fits the crab. Because all these crabs are like shoving their body into these tiny little things that are not the right size and living in plastic. And they're excited, and you'd see them dump that plastic cap and then move into a real shell, and then walk off. And it's one of my favorite accounts in the whole world, because I try to inundate myself with the good people are doing in this world, so I can kind of overbalance all the depravity, because I will be eyes open, but I'm not going to inundate myself with all the dark in the world and all the depravity that's going on. Yes, it's there, but there's 80 to 85% of us that are not narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths. So when you understand that the patriarchy, that's what it actually is, and it's been controlling the world, you understand that they don't want peace. They don't care about people. They have maybe conceptual empathy, but no real empathy. They don't feel hurt. They don't feel emotions like other people feel. They don't care about hurting people. They care about power over. They care about domination. They care about control. And what controls the people? Money and power and power over. And so when you understand this, then you get busy on your soul mission, shining your big light in the world, stepping up your empowerment in up here, believing in yourself at the highest levels, and go put yourself out there and do your work in this world and make a change, make a difference, believe in yourself, because we are so powerful as the people. And so FDR put out his Four Freedoms, speech. I actually wish I would have looked up when the other Bill of Rights came out, because I don't think most people really know about that second Bill of Rights that was never put into place. It was either Eisenhower or FDR, but it was never actually got put into place, unfortunately. But it would have been amazing. And there's a lot of people that know about it that keep trying to fight for that to come back. So if we look at how it was Pluto and Leo, this is important because it was a world leader telling us the vision of empowerment of the people having liberation, people having freedom, people having the ability to self-actualize, because they're not bogged down by survival. The third freedom from want, meaning living in survival and not even able to just, take a vacation or self-actualize, because you don't have enough food, can't always cover your bills, and you're always in that survival. And so with Pluto and Leo, luckily we had this amazing leader. We had some great leaders in our history, Eisenhower and FDR. And again, it's not to say they're perfect, okay, y'all, but it's this Leo, it's this leader telling the people. Now what has switched is Pluto in Aquarius. It's community, it's community. Yes, there may be, leaders, but they are part of the whole. And it's the community that has changed. It's the collective, it's the populace. We are now we are the ones who are putting these messages out, encouraging and inspiring other people, helping people to heal, helping people to awaken, helping people to realize they don't have to have that patriarchy internalized anymore. No, you don't have to. Here's one of the things that with the patriarchy and psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists being in positions of power and control in the corporate world, for example. So you go have a job, you think that's, you just go to high school and go to college, and you think like, okay, you get trained by the culture like everyone else, and you think, okay, this is what I go do. I go get a job, and I'd like to change the world and make some impact, but I'll have to go this route because I got to survive. I got to provide for myself. And so I go into this corporate world to try to make some money and have a good life. And then, I can try to get busy, like changing the world in some way or going into law or something. But all those people in positions of power are either the narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths, or they've been trained by them and conditioned and programmed by them. And so they're on the spectrum somewhere of being a manipulator or a controller or a power over person. And they can be swayed, and they can heal, and they can move towards, not being that way when all of the rest of us stand up and no longer tolerate it. And so they can't function anymore in that world. So they have to start changing. And so it really decreases the amount of people that are in a power over type of paradigm and way of viewing life and the way of doing life. And so it's less and less and less and less people that are doing life in that old power over model and that old control over others model. And there's more and more and more and more of us that actually care about all of us, care about humanity and dignity and care about life and crabs on the beaches of Japan and animals and our land and water not being polluted in our earth and living back in alignment with the celestial and the earth in harmony and in communion. And so then we can actually take back our power and take back our world from them. And so understanding that there's so many people on the spectrum that can be swayed back towards the good, back towards the light, back towards their own humanity, their own healing to heal. Because, you know, narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths, the reason they are that way is deep shame and deep fear, but they never heal. But the people on the spectrum that have just been trained to be in that same control paradigm and power over dynamic, they can heal. But we have to inspire them to want to. We have to inspire them to want to move towards a partnership and cooperation model of society and living. And we have to inspire them to let go of control, which it's really hard to let go of the vice, the drug of control. But if they're not a narcissist, psychopath, and sociopath, they can choose to come over to the light. And so my point is we have to understand why so many people that aren't actually a narcissist, psychopath, and sociopath are under that way of behaving and acting, and that they have programs within their psyche that they're just running those programs because they're internalized. It's like so many women hate their body when their body doesn't look like fucking Barbie, which hate that movie. Don't I know it awakened a lot of women, but I hate the whole thing because women don't realize it's just more of the same of perpetuating the fucked up, you know, tiny woman, blonde woman stereotype. And it's just more of the same wrapped in different packages that supposedly is women's empowerment. It's not. And so realize that that's internalized misogyny. So many women hate their body if it's not this like Hollywood bullshit version of a woman's body that's not a real woman's body. And that's internalized misogyny. When you hate your body at any size, in any way, no matter what you've gone through, what you look like, that's internalized misogyny. We have to wake up to all of these programs inside. Like you can't wake up to it and deconstruct it and get it out of your psyche until you see it. And we're blind all the time, we're learning to see. It's one of my favorite Grateful Dead lyrics. You know, we're blind all the time, we're learning to see. On the path of learning to see, we're blind until we finally see it. But when you see it, when you can wake up to it, you got to run towards your own empowerment. You got to run towards your own enlightenment, your own belief in yourself. And so Pluto and Aquarius now with this Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus is like this let me share this with you. It's like this completion of a cycle. You know, the 1 in 41 with Pluto and Leo, and now the one happening in 2024 with Pluto and Aquarius. And so let me show you that chart. Of and just one quick second here. Okay. So let me show you the chart for the Jupiter Uranus conjunction today. 9:27 p.m. is when it's exact, but you've been feeling this all month, but we've had such a loaded month of the eclipse cycle. This eclipse cycle was particularly intense and heavy because it was a death and rebirth, even though that's what an eclipse is anyways, but it was Pisces Aries. So Pisces ruled eclipses are deep in like deep stuff, past life patterns, deep subconscious in your psyche stuff, deeply internal, deeply emotional. And so it's been deep, it's been intense. We've had Sun Pluto square now we're in. We've had these eclipses, and then we've had, a hammer of Thor this week leading up to this conjunction. So let me change this chart back to 0 Aries and so this Jupiter Uranus conjunction at 21 degrees and 49 minutes in Taurus, it is this, bookends. These are bookends to the people now taking back their empowerment. And Uranus is trauma, Jupiter is our belief system. So if you look at the conjunction in 1941, we had war later that year. We had war leading up. So we were in World War II. Germany had invaded Poland in 39. And so leading up to 41, we had Germany invading Poland. We had all of the different events happening without the US yet being involved in World War II happening. And so we had war. And so it's trauma. And it's all about people, the patriarchy wanting more power and control and domination, and the rest of people trying to either fight for their life, just having to be in Taurus, survival. You just happen to be born in a war-torn area, an area that got hit with war. You just happen to live there, just like Ukraine right now, just like Palestine right now. And so, and just like the people in Israel, the people that are not part of the fight that happen to live there, they're just born in that area. And so all of a sudden they're amidst the war, and Taurus is war. It is our resources. It is our land. And so often there's war that happens with the Jupiter Uranus conjunction leading up to that. And of course, ever since the patriarchy started, we've had war on the planet for 97% of the time. And when there's war, rape goes up, rape of women goes up, and women's freedoms go down. And this is something we want to be aware of as soul mission driven women. And what you can do is be eyes open, inundating yourself with all the good, stepping up your empowerment and belief in yourself, and going about your soul mission. That's how you can actually affect change in such big ways. And I'm going to share how these Jupiter Uranus conjunctions keep rippling out liberation and innovation and this revolution keeps rippling out over the decades after Jupiter Uranus conjunctions, because we are changing from within ourselves. We change our belief systems, we change the way we think, we change our deep subconscious value systems and ideas about life and perceptions, Uranus. And so therefore we behave differently, we choose differently, we create differently, and therefore everything changes. And with this being in Taurus, with the war in 41, there was the bombing in Pearl Harbor in December of 41, and that's when the US started to, join the war and World War II and got involved. And so Uranus is trauma, and war is fucking trauma, huge trauma, right? And so, but we had war leading up to when the US got involved afterwards. But if you think about liberation, if you think about revolution, it is often a fight because we're fighting people that want to control and dominate us. And so the revolution is standing up in a resistance to being controlled and dominated. But what we have to understand is what I was explaining before is 80 to 85% of us aren't narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths. So we can change and heal and evolve. And then there's a whole, I don't know if it's 20 to 50% of us are good-hearted people, not trying to control others. We're born with empathy and care and compassion. However, most of us born like that, because we're empaths, because we're sensitive, because we care about other people, because we're just naturally trusting, we have to go through our whole lives of enduring abuse and trauma, and often family abuse and different things, and narcissistic abusers and abusive bosses and employers, and learn how to step into our empowerment, our belief in ourselves, to recognize those abusers and to no longer be controlled and be above abuse. And I just want to share with you and encourage you that I have zero tolerance for patriarchy, for abuse, for micro abuse, for narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths. I have zero tolerance for misogyny, I have zero tolerance for people that want to control and dominate me in any way. And I have zero tolerance for people that might be good people, but manipulate as their coping mechanism or as their what they learned how to do to try to get their beliefs met. Zero tolerance, don't have them in my life. I will be a light shining out there. I will be educating about this. I'll be helping others to see and heal and awaken from it, but I won't have them in my life. That is not my job. No, because you are not safe. If you have somebody that's manipulating you, even if it's just their coping mechanism or the way they're trying to get their needs met, you are never safe to let down your guard and just be your authentic self. You're always controlled, you're always dimmed, you're always shrunk. You can't ever be your full self. You have to have your guard up constantly. So I have zero tolerance on that. And I have zero tolerance on people that may be good people, but they're just playing around in their shadow, flinging poop in their shadow, and they are not valuing me at the highest levels. And an example of that, I just had a guy in my astrology group like just make me the butt of a joke one day. And I just gave him a text and I was like, dude, I have never been unkind to you. I've been nothing but inclusive and kind. I've never treated you poorly or badly at all. At all. And you just like treated me like that. You may think it's no big deal. It's a very big deal. And I do not tolerate it. And you don't get access to me anymore. Goodbye. Like, goodbye. You are out. I do not let people like that have access to me. And the reason why people will think I'm extreme, and the reason why is because they tolerate what you might consider micro abuse, but it's abuse. Anybody that treats you shitty, it's abuse. We have to stop tolerating it. We have to stop like turning the other way. We have to stop being habituated and having it normalized for us and acting like it's okay. When I stood up to this person, he has the opportunity to grow and to be like, oh my God, I just lost an amazing woman out of my life because I'm an idiot and just treated her like shit for no reason. And I'm actually not a bad person. So why don't I go step up my game and actually evolve and grow and deal with my shit that makes me passive aggressive and want to just like attack people just because have these wounds inside my own mind that I'm making up or dealing with that I'm not working on to heal. It gives him the opportunity for that. Will he take it? I don't know. Don't care. But, that's what we do by stepping up into our acute empowerment and belief in ourselves and value of ourselves. Taurus is value. It's your value system, but it's valuing yourself and knowing that you are resourceful and you don't need anything outside yourself to be secure, because Taurus is all about security, but being secure from within your own ability to know that you can figure it out, that you are resourceful, and that you can take care of yourself. That's Taurus. That's the good side of fixed earth. The other negative side of Taurus is Uranus breaking up like lightning, this stuck, fixed, narrow way that Taurus can get stuck in, these narrow ways of seeing, perceiving, and thinking about life and doing life. So all of those supply chain issues in 2020 helped us to get out of these Taurus fixed, stuck ways, thinking that I had to have this only brand of honey or olive oil or go to this one place for eggs. It may have sucked that I couldn't like get my stuff that I wanted, but I found amazing stuff because I finally stopped being stuck in like, oh, I found the best thing, so I'm never going to change or try anything else. Taurus can get in this autopiloted, like, this is comfortable, this is my security, this is what I know. And so I'm just going to keep doing the same old thing. And that's why Uranus is here between 2018 and 2026. Not only is it awaken the feminine Taurus, but also it's helping us to get out of our old stuck fixed ways of seeing, perceiving, and being. so that we can try new things, we can evolve Uranus, and we can like, understand to innovate, because limitation makes us innovate. It makes us realize our own resourcefulness. So the other things that I really wanted to bring up um is the other Jupiter Uranus conjunction. So I really went in deep to these Taurus, Jupiter Uranus conjunctions, that this is one with the collective, with Pluto, the evolutionary impulse, being in Aquarius, meaning that the people are now, it's that mirroring. It's that this is the twin conjunction to that 1941 conjunction. And what my point about the Jupiter-Uranus conjunctions being revolution and liberation that keeps rippling out over time, that happens internally very deeply and keeps rippling out over time, is look at FDR's Four Freedoms and look at all the people, everything that happened between then and now, over 84 years, of all the people who their whole life's work, everything they care about is all about that. I mean, that's what I've been talking about here. That's what Soul Mission Driven Woman is all about, is caring about humanity, caring about our evolution, caring about ending the depravity and the darkness and the child sex trafficking, $34 billion business on the planet. Why is this allowed to continue? We have power as people to step into our empowerment and to stop being controlled and dominated by other people in any way at all, and inspire other people to do the same. And then more of the 85% of the population will come out from underneath the control of a very few in the population, and their control will just start to decline. They just won't have the ability to control the rest of the world anymore. And we create this world to be the true reality of coming from heart, coming from soul, coming from love, not unlove, coming from ethics, and not man-made ethics, but natural law ethics, that you just know what is right and wrong in your soul, in your heart, within your being. And so looking at the other conjunctions that happened in 1968 and 1969. So sometimes when we have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, they go through a retrograde. So there's 3 conjunctions, boom, boom, boom. And so, December 1968, we had a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. March 1969, and then July 1969, we had the next 2 conjunctions, and one was retrograde. And so we had that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in 68, 69 in Libra. Libra is all about the mind. It is all about tolerance for all different ways of life, all different ways of seeing. And I'm always excluding the abusers when I say that. So I never have tolerance for abuse. And a lot of you out there have been gaslighted to have tolerance for abuse, because abusers have said that you're not accepting people and you're not being that you're judging and you're calling people narcissists. No, I only use the word narcissist for people with actual narcissistic personality disorder. I never use it as an adjective. And so a lot of people have been gaslighted into not calling a duck a duck. We need to call a duck a duck. You need to call a narcissist. You need to call someone out when they're controlling and that they're being controlling. You need to call domination out and power over dynamics out for what it is. It's the only way we're going to keep encouraging and inspiring other people, and we're going to get out from underneath it. And so Libra is all about tolerance for all kinds of ways of life, all kinds of relationships, and all kinds of ways of seeing the world. And so also Libra is about social justice. Well, what happened in 68 and 69? It was revolution in the streets. It was the hippie movement, all about, the Vietnam War that happened from 65 to 75, saying, no, we don't want more war. No to Vietnam, no to going to war, no to sending our, sisters and brothers and children and people off to get killed in a war for a small group of people that is all about control and domination. And that's what war is about. And no. And so it was also about this mass exodus to the East and bringing Eastern philosophies and ideas back to the West, Zen Buddhism and yoga and all of this Indian culture of different types and all of these different, types of ideas and philosophies we brought back. And now you can see how that rippled out through the decades of our liberation and our revolution. There's yoga on every corner. And a lot of people hate that because they're like, it lost the sutras, it lost the underlying teachings. But I argue that this is amazing and great, because when people go to any, even if it's just a very commercial yoga class, the basics of being in your body, in your breath, and in the present moment are there. At least it may not be the sutras and the deeper teachings there, but it is that at least. And that alone is so huge for our population to get out of the head and the ego and more into the heart, more into the present moment, and into our intuition and our navigation system of our instincts, which is our body, and our intuition, which is, that right brain, and that our knowing, our inner truth, which is all Jupiter, all Jupiter. So it's like really this Libra, Uranus, Jupiter revolution was this like social justice, social reform, social change agents. And that has rippled out into the collective to this day. So many people are affected by the hippie movement without realizing quite why they're attracted to it or why they love it or what about it. But underneath are these deep internal shifts and changes. And people still love the Grateful Dead. They were the Warlocks in 65 and finally changed to the Grateful Dead in the late 60s. And, and so many kids today that have never even heard the Grateful Dead with Jerry Garcia and never even been exposed to much are going to like Grateful Dead cover bands and the version of Dead and Company now, they keep changing their guitar players and whatever, but it's the same main guys, and Mickey and and Billy and Bobby, and so, and Phil kind of went off on his own, but the guys are still there. And like the Grateful Dead has all of this Eastern philosophy and deeper ideas. They have some patriarchal songs, unfortunately, about like 2 or 3 that I particularly hate, but the rest of it, there's a lot of infusion of wisdom and deeper, higher understanding and knowledge. And why are people so attracted to it? They're attracted to it for actually the underneath teachings that seep in and get internalized, even though they think it's just like partying and the music and what have you. This is what the Jupiter Uranus conjunctions do, is they roll out deep revolution internally that keeps affecting change in the collective that cannot be stopped, no matter the small percentage of people trying to control and dominate others, the rest of the population in the world. It cannot be stopped. It's revolution that keeps going. And that revolution is still happening today. The revolution from 1941 that happened with that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is still in effect today, but now it's the people rather than just one world leader putting this vision out of freedom and truth and justice. Now it's the people standing up into their empowerment and saying, no, I'm a social change agent. I'm for truth and justice and freedom and love, and a society built from love and empathy and caring about people, and people being empowered and not being in survival anymore, because we have plenty of abundance on this planet for not one person to be hungry or homeless or without mental health, period. And if anybody has convinced you otherwise, that is false. That is programming and a spell. And so really understanding, let's look at another Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, happened in 83. Again, this was when we had 3 conjunctions, 3 Jupiter-Uranus conjunctions. We had a retrograde through it, and it was in Sag. And what is Sag about? It's about wisdom. It's about higher truth. It's about our belief systems. And what happened in 83? That's when Louise Hay put her book out. Her book, You Can Heal Your Life, came out in 84. If you don't know who Louise Hay is, she's somebody who revolutionized the world of helping people understand you can have control over your mind. You can take back the power of your own mind, very much on the heels of like a Viktor Frankl and other people that came before. But she was like, you can take back control of your own mind. And, she really pushed affirmations and that whole world of taking back agency over your own mind and the power it has to create your world. And that's why I'm always saying is step into believing in yourself at the highest levels. It is truly massaging your brain into a new place, getting off that default unintentional thoughts that our brain has and into deliberate thinking on purpose, and literally brainwashing yourself consciously on purpose for what you want to believe. I mean, just think about a thought that somebody might have about injustice of like, it's not fair that people do XYZ. Yeah, but you thinking that thought is going to keep you in this emotion of injustice, which keeps you kind of not empowered at the highest levels and not taking action that you could take to be a social change agent. But if you instead believe like, yeah, of course people are doing crazy shit. I'm, a social change agent. I can affect change. I'm empowered. So we have so much power as the people. I am going to do what I can do. And I'm going to start today, and I can start right here, and I can take this action right here that does affect change. You can take back your mind, believe like that, think like that deliberately, consciously, and then actually take actions that affect change and affect the world and make you money so you can be a social change agent on a small level. A lot of you are so scared to make money because a lot of the power over people use money to control and have power over, but make money and then use money in the way you want to use it to do good. Money is just neutral. So stop making money bad and make money. A lot of you women keep trying to not make money. Go make money. Women need to have our prosperity back. We need to own land, and we need to make money. And we need to do boots on the ground change and social change and help to people. We need to help people to get up out of lower levels of frequency so that they can actually start having desire to want to change their lives themselves, and then they can become social change agents. You have to understand the map of consciousness. If you are below the level of 200 on the map of consciousness, which is a logarithmic scale, and this is something that David Hawkins put out, it's really important work. I would encourage you to be educated on it, because if you understand this, you understand that if you're below that level of 200, you don't really have the ability, the frequency and vibration to be inspired to want to change yourself. And then of course you don't want to change the world because you're just in survival, or you're just going about life trying to get by. So we have to, be inspiring people to want to change and grow and heal. Many people just are so inundated with survival and these victim narratives that they just feel tired, and they don't have the literal frequency and vibration level. So therefore, they don't have the energy to get out of the disempowerment that they're in. And so, it's so important. And so Louise Hay, huge. She brought out Hay House Publishing. She had Hay House Radio. She died in 2017 at 90 years old, but she didn't even start until 62. And during the 80s, she was revolutionizing AIDS and helping AIDS to not become like what is that one disease where like leprosy, like where people are looked at as an othered because they have AIDS. And she really helped change that whole narrative around HIV and AIDS in the 80s. She was huge, massive work that she did in her life, and she didn't even start till she was 62. So many of you women out there are like, oh, it's too late for me, or I wish I would have got started earlier. Stop being in all those thoughts and start being in, it doesn't matter when I start. I can have so much effect. In 30 years of her life, she had so much profound effect at a huge, massive level that is rippling out to this day and will still continue to ripple out, because her publishing company published all of these light bringers and people of heart, most of them, and not all of them, but people of heart that want to change the world and help the world. And then all of their books got published and put out, and their platforms got put out, and all of that helped millions and millions of people that woke up and that saw the light and started to believe in themselves and heal and do the work, and on and on and on. That's what it does. You just have to do your purpose. That's all you got to do, is do the thing that you're passionate about and that you love, and to step into your own empowerment. Heal yourself and you heal the world. And so in the 83 Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Sag, all about, our belief systems and about wisdom and alignment with natural law and adventure and expanding your, a great Sagittarius quote is, travel is fatal to ignorance. It's a Mark Twain quote that I love for Sag, because Sag loves travel and adventure and travel abroad, right? And that Sag loves to get information. It loves to understand things. It just wants to like learn and understand and figure things out. And so, that Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Sag in 1983, Louise Hay published her book in 1984 and went on her big mission. We had Byron Katie come out, another big female thought leader, and she has her work called The Work. I do a lot of this in my coaching with people. I have another specific technique that I teach my clients on how to manage their brain, but I do use a little bit of her work. It's really important work out in the world, but just all of her books, I recommend reading those. I recommend getting her into your world, because she helps you question your brain, question all those thoughts that are not truth. Our thoughts are not truth. And to get off of being identified with all your thoughts and realize that you are soul, you're not a collection of thoughts, and to start taking back agency over your own mind and being in control of your own mind and thinking deliberately and thinking consciously. And she was another big proliferator of your mind, of your own belief systems, and taking back power over your own belief systems. And now that has rippled into the world. There's so many people that understand mindset today. A lot of people equate mindset for spiritual bypassing and toxic positivity, but it's rippled out. That revolution has never stopped rippling out, and more and more and more and more people wake up, understand, believe, teach it themselves, and go help more people wake up, understand, and step into their light and their purpose and their mission. And so it just keeps rippling out. We had the Pisces, we had the conjunction in Aries and Pisces. We had June of 2010, we had it in Aries. September 2010, we had it retrograde in Pisces. And then January in 2011, we had it in Pisces. So really fascinating, because we've had this eclipse cycle in that Pisces Aries. Pisces ruled, both eclipses were Pisces ruled. And then we had, one in Libra, but Pisces ruled, and then one in Aries, and it's that Aries Libra axes, and Pisces ruled. Like this, we've had all these planets in Pisces moving into Aries. So we're having 9 conjunctions in April, which is odd. It's not common, because we have all the planets kind of, grouped up together. We have a Mars Neptune conjunction that we are in the energy in, because when planets are applying to the exact transit, so a conjunction, so when they're moving into that exact conjunction, that's when the energy is the most intense. And so we're in a Mars Neptune conjunction right now. We're in the Sun Pluto square right now, and of course we're having this exact Jupiter Uranus conjunction today. This is a very intense month. It's one of the biggest astrological months of this year, 2024, and so much is changing. And so something else I want to share with you that I think you'll really love, and then I think that might be about it for this. But hold on one second. There we go. So I made this. I just wanted you to be able to see it, and then I'm going to zoom in so that you can see it bigger. But I made this timeline, which cannot be all encompassing, but I wanted to hit some highlights. But let me zoom in. So 1941 was that Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus. And, I've talked about it, that this was the For Freedom speech in January of that year. And then we went to war in December, and leading up to January, to FDR giving that For Freedom speech, we had, World War II beginning, and Germany invading Poland, and all of that happening. Uranus is trauma. It's the trauma, it's the breakdown before the breakthrough. It is the really difficult, horrible things we go through that make us finally say enough, no more. It also teaches us that whole dark side, because how do you know the light side until you know the dark? but those of us that are soul-centered, we come out of it and we don't choose to be dark ourselves and to be manipulators or controllers or to be abusive. We may have had bouts or experiences of going through that ourselves, understanding it deeper by doing it ourselves, or we kind of got caught up in that because we were abused or went through abusive relationships. And so you get kind of caught up in the dynamics. But most of us come to, and Uranus is about awakening, and we awaken and we're like, we don't want that. But you can be addicted to abuse, you can be addicted to trauma, and that's challenging to get out of that trauma brain, because a trauma brain can kind of keep you stuck in trauma and loops of trauma brain type of being and reactivity. And so you have to heal your nervous system. And I do that deep work with my clients. With my clients, I help them to heal completely, which involves nervous system work. It involves moving their empowerment from here to there. It involves working with your emotions and working with your agency over your own mind and your beliefs. And we do that deep work. I help women to reprogram beliefs in 3 days to 2 weeks. And if you just think about, if you reprogram a subconscious belief, meaning it just becomes your truth, like it just becomes who you are. If you do that once a week for 52 weeks a year, just think of the different person you're going to be. When I started reprogramming in the beliefs of I am valuable, I feel valuable, I just didn't let people abuse me anymore. Even if it was like what most people would be like, oh, it's a micro abuse, it's no big deal. Why do you have a problem with it? No, I don't let people make me the butt of a joke. I don't let people put me down and act like it's funny. I don't let people treat me poorly. No, I expect people to treat me well, and I treat people well. That's actually healthy and the world I want to live in. I don't want to live in a world habituated to abuse, calling it good. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a sick society. And so we had this in 41, 68, 69. We had that Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Libra about social justice and tolerance, all the social justice, all the people in the hippie movement fighting for no more war, social justice, for people to have their needs met, to not be in survival, um, tolerance for all different walks of life and ways people wanted to be sexually, that people wanted to be as far as their identity and their sexual identity and gender and all that stuff. And now today that's really exploded, and you're kind of an idiot if you don't accept it. I mean, a lot of people maybe accept it just because they need the optics, and more people are finally waking up and being like, yeah, why wouldn't I just accept any person the way they truly are and how people have always been, but what wasn't accepted in the puritanical world. And then in 77, in October, you had Chiron discovered. Well, Chiron helps us actually know our wound and face our wound. Chiron is not only the wound, but it's the hole maker. When you go into your Chiron and you face it and you work with the shadow and you work with that. And that's what I do with my clients, my 6-month coaching program. You heal, I teach people you can heal completely. When you heal completely, there's no emotional charge. If you were raped, if you had abuse, if you had a narcissistic abuser, if you had abusive parents, it just becomes a matter of fact of like, yep, I had abusive parents. I had very abusive parents. I dealt with sexual abuse. I dealt with narcissistic abuse. I grew up in a soup of narcissists, and then I attracted one controlling fuck guy after another. And then I finally woke up and I healed completely. And now it's just a matter of fact. I don't have emotional charge around it anymore because you can actually heal completely. And Chiron has helped us to finally do shadow work, finally do healing work. All of these healing modalities have come about. People actually want to work with their shadow and face it. People want to, and you have to see that this is the revolution that has happened. And then if we go to, let me erase all of this, and if we go to 83, just talked about it, then we had the Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Sag, and over our agency, over our beliefs, realignment to natural law, to being connected once again to the cosmos, the celestial, and the earth, and ourselves, all as one, and not glamorized by materialism, programmed by the mechanistic world that's all bullshit. A lot of people are out there and saying your AI is the AI system and all that. You got to stop that shit. Connect into what is sacred, because I'm telling you, you will fall into meaninglessness if you go that route. Pisces is what is meaningful, but it's also the madness of what is meaningless and feeling like this disillusionment and disillusion of what's meaningful. You have to connect into something that is sacred for you, whatever that is. And this connection to all that is sacred. Life is sacred. And Taurus is all about life. Taurus is the springtime when the flowers bloom and the baby animals are born and the trees are sprouting and budding and tulips are blooming and flowers are blooming everywhere. It's this the beautiful planting season, growing season, when the plants are starting to get a little bit more mature and deeper, sturdier roots. And it is that fecundity and abundance. And it is life. You have to realize that the patriarchy values death. It's a death cult. You know, why is there so much fixation on the crucifixion? Jesus was trying to tell people the light always returns. Yes, there's a death, but there's always a rebirth. Yes, there's darkness, but there's always the light that returns. And we have to go through our own depths of darkness to see the light, to value the light, to understand the light. And here's my hope for the future, that the next cycle of darkness that comes around, because it inevitably does, that the darkness won't be human depravity at the heights that we have it currently. Narcissists, psychopaths, abusers, $34 billion child sex trafficking business on this planet. Business. Disgusting. Why is this allowed? This, I hope that the next darkness is just contrast, that it's merely contrast, and that we are living in a world of people all self-actualizing and putting amazing innovation and beauty into this world, living in a world where we're just constantly expanding and growing, because Jupiter wants to expand and to grow, but there can be the negative side of that, that's just insatiable and you're partying all the time and you're doing all the things that are not healthy in life, and it's this insatiableness, like overeating, over sex, over TV, over whatever, over false pleasure. But there's the expansion that is good and healthy and positive. And so then in 87, we had the Great Convergence, it's called, where we had an en masse awakening of people around the world, awakening and consciousness increasing, you know. And again, the 83 was like Louise Hay and Byron Katie, all these people of saying, hey, take back agency over your own mind. You have control over your mind. You have control over your belief systems, you know, and let's get and realigned to natural law, not man-made rule book bullshit. And then 87, we had this huge awakening on the planet. It used to be just individuals around the world awakening, and they would put their teachings out, like Madame Blavatsky, for example, with spiritualism and her hidden doctrine that, you know, theosophy is based off of today, and such great information you can find by going and learning from there. You can learn so much. I really recommend it. Not any one thing is gospel, but really educate yourself and don't be scared of stuff. Just go go get understanding and learning, and read books and read a lot, and you'll start to see patterns, which is also Sagittarius. The great attractors at 14 degrees Sag. So it's all about patterns and integration. And so then in 2012, we have another en masse awakening of the people. Instead of just individuals awakening and then teaching, like Ram Dass and all these individual teachers coming out, now we have en masse awakening of people around the world. And then they wake up, they start their own businesses, they get off of the patriarchy being their source of money or security, and they put their own light and genius out into the world. And that helps other people to heal and awaken and step into their empowerment, and on and on and on. It keeps rippling out. And then we have 2020, where we have another en masse awakening, and just to know that awakenings keep happening. It's not like, oh, they just happened these years. They keep happening, but these were just points in time where you can look to where there was a big bursting forth. Okay. But 2020 was another huge one. And also, you know, the other stuff that happened, again, consciousness expands, consciousness increases. 2020 to 2024, and it also include like 2019, Chiron went into Aries, all about going back to our autonomy, our own um, self-concept, self-identity, not a self-identity that's based on your degree, I'm a science, I'm this, but like your own self-identity, where people, I'm a pro astrologer and I'm a life coach. I'm Dove Hotep. I'm here to help women be empowered at the highest levels, make money, and change the world. Like I'm here to end the depravity to the degree that I'm able to in my lifetime, and I plan to affect as much change in that realm as I possibly can. And I'm here to help people to stop donating to charities. Oh, I'm a philanthropist optic wise, but that's performative. Are you really? Are you doing any boots on the ground help to the people that at all? I already have some plans in place for how I'm going to affect change with literal people one to one. All those companies that give away one pair of glasses for every eye exam they do to somebody who can't afford it, or they give away a pair of shoes to somebody that can't afford it for every pair that's purchased. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about, where we can create real change using your business where you still make profit and make money. Profit is not a dirty word, it's how you use it. So we have Aries and Chiron from 2019 to 2026. And, it's all about, we've had all of this Aries trying to awaken the population from the unhealthy Libra, the opposite axes, and trying to help people to be autonomous. Aries is all about not being under external control. Autonomy or sovereignty means no longer under external control because you are scared, because you think you need it, because you are unhealed, because you're programmed and wounded. That's why people let people control them. And that's why it's a journey of healing. And that's why Chiron is all about healing. Healing what takes away our autonomy, Chiron and Aries. Then we have Uranus and Taurus from 2018 to 2026, the feminine awakening around the planet and saying no more and waking up. And it's a revolution, because just like Riane Eisler said, it is women who are the hinge pin to humanity changing, and always has been throughout time. If you look at the Troubadour era in France, or the Elizabethan era, not that I'm saying it was so great for lower class, for suppose, I hate the word lower class because it's not correct, but for lower income women. But regardless, women were getting out of domestication, making great change in the humanities, which rippled out change across the decades, even if it, unfortunately didn't impact, either different demographics of women or women with less income. And so then we have 2020, it was another great awakening en masse of the people. Also, March 21st, 2020, we had the Saturn in Aquarius. Yes, it restricted Saturn, the collective Aquarius, but it catalyzed Saturn, the collective. Everybody was like, no, I'm not fucking going back into commuting 2 hours to work. No, I'm not going to work in the office 5 days a week again. No, I don't want to have to look in this fake, somebody gave me this idea of what's professional. I can't have colored hair. I can't wear the clothes I love because that means supposedly I'm not professional if I'm not wearing a suit. Fuck that. We have changed in the last 4 years dramatically. It was so much more than that, but just think about what that was for you. And then December 21st, we had the Jupiter Saturn conjunction in Aquarius, huge revolution and change, because Aquarius is all about revolution. It's all about liberation. It's all about individuation. So Saturn, the collective, Saturn is the collective along with the moon being the collective and so forth. But Saturn is the current reality, breaking down, individuating, having to go into the future, being limited, breakdown to breakthrough, being limited for the purpose of innovation. And Jupiter, this expansion, this change of our beliefs, this big, lightning bolt Aquarius to our belief systems. And then Pluto in Aquarius from 2023 to 2024 and moving into Aquarius, for the next, I believe it's 20 years until 2044. And so now we have the whole collective, Pluto, our evolutionary intent, Pluto in Aquarius, Aquarius is the collective versus that Leo, which is more of the person over the collective, or the person like leading the collective. It doesn't always have to be negative, but it can often be negative, where the Leo person thinks that they rain down all the gifts. And it's like, no, all of the people are gifted. Sometimes there just needs to be a person who shines the light, because the true Leo is the heart, the vulnerable heart, shining that ethereal light, shining that love, the love that it takes to be truly vulnerable. Leo is the sign that comes after Cancer. High Cancer is about emotional security from within. So then you can be vulnerable, heart shining love to people, and be able to handle the emotions of vulnerability, the emotions of embarrassment or humiliation, the emotions of self-consciousness, the emotions of people not liking you or putting you down or judging you or whatever. That's high Leo and high Cancer. And so now it's the collective being empowered, and we have this democratization of information, because Aquarius is an information. We have democratization of information. That means all people have access to information because of the internet, meaning that you don't have information kept from you anymore. And that's why they want to ban TikTok, because they want to keep you from the truth being put out, and they want to keep women down. This is exactly what it's about. Also, we have the democratization of consciousness. Also, we have the democratization of money, because you can make money now in your own business, and you're not forced to only make it this one way from the patriarchal system. And then we have 2024 and this, mirror, this bookends. These two Taurus, Jupiter, Uranus conjunctions are bookends. And we have a new cycle in place, because conjunctions are a new beginning of Taurus, everything that I've talked about. And this is going to ripple out to the decades coming, because it's with the Pluto being in Aquarius. And so the collective being empowered, the collective knowing their value, Taurus, the collective invoking a new belief system and a new value system based on having changed their mind, getting control over their mind and agency over their belief systems that are no longer internalized patriarchy, internalized misogyny, internalized beliefs of your parents who might have been good people, but that's just not the way we want to see it. Like, with the Palestinian Israel situation, I so, send, love to the Jewish people who are getting so much stuff happening to them because of what Israel is doing. The people that are living in that country that don't want any part of this, that are just have, little choice because they were born there. But Israel is participating in genocide of Palestine, and it's wrong, and it's fucked up. And there's a lot of companies in this world, in our grocery stores, who are supporting Israel and doing this genocide. And, you have to understand that's all control and domination and power over. We don't have to participate in it. And we can send our love to the people that are unfortunately affected and have no choice but because they were born in these areas, etc. And then we can vote with our dollar. There's this app called No Thanks. It's great. You can also start to learn who are the parent companies to the companies that you buy from, and stop buying from companies with that, that are like Nestle, that are putting legislation to keep women from getting parental leave from their work so that they don't breastfeed, which is the way that we know that babies have immunization and the highest level of relief from allergies later in life, and immunity and health, and put them on formula because Nestle sells formula. We have to be awake and aware. And I know when you're at the level of survival and you're just trying to make money and you're just trying to get by, you can't do those things right now. And, we're on the tit of Amazon, but we got to get off of it. As soon as you have the money to stop buying from monopolies, and to get off and to start paying attention to who the parent companies are of the brands you buy, and to start to vote with your dollar, we got to do it. And right now, no matter where you're at, you can vote with your imagination. Saturn in Pisces is all about Saturn, structure, reality. Pisces, imagination, dreaming. Dream the world you want to see into being. Inundate yourself with the good that people are doing out there, like my little crab account that I love, make the shift for change, because these little crabs get to go choose a real shell and get a real shell, and they've been walking around in plastic. What the fuck, man? You know, and I follow this other account where these people are removing hooks from sharks. You know, inundate yourself with the good that people are doing around the world. Put it in your brain. Show yourself those accounts online. Read those stories. You know, only follow the other depravity and stories that are going on around the world to the point that you're not eyes closed and you're aware and awake. But don't put that too much in your sphere, because we're already inundated with it just by living here now. So you got to put the good in, and just like seriously inundate yourself with the good that people are doing. Step up your empowerment from here, goddesses, to here. Believe in yourself at the highest levels. And if you want to finally change that and work with a coach, you can come into a free discovery call for my 6-month coaching program. And you can book that on my website, empoweredwomenrise.com. If you've liked anything in this video, please like it. It helps the algorithms, gets it out there to more women, and also subscribe so you'll be notified when the new moon and full moon plus sun sign videos come out every month. And I'm going to be putting a lot more great content out right here. And I'm sending you so much love. If you love astrology and you want to dig into your own astrology and get to know yourself better, understand what your Pluto is, what your intention for life, what your purpose is in this life, if you just want to understand your wounds better and how to heal that, dig into your astrology with me as a professional evolutionary astrologer. And you can book an astrology reading at empoweredwomenrise.com. I have a sliding scale fee. And if you download my free astrology mini course, not only will you get an instant empowerment upgrade, but you will be able to be on my list when I give astrology reading discounts if you just quite can't afford my prices. But no, I have a sliding scale fee on my website. So don't be afraid to pay lower than my standard fee. I just want women to be connected to the power of your astrology. So I don't care what you pay. I just want to work with you and get you connected in to your astrology and your empowerment. All right, y'all, I'm sending you so much love. I hope this video was empowering and helpful and fun. And please like, share, send this out to a friend. Please text this video to a friend. I really appreciate it. And I will talk to you soon. Sending you so much love.